Hey everybody, Tony D with yet another explosive report about Joe Biden and China. I mean, could this guy have effed up his life worse? I don't see how. Um, I don't see how, even if Joe Biden is elected, and I think he'd have to be brain dead to vote for him at this point, um, how he even gets through the first few months of his administration without the Republicans immediately suggesting they impeach him. I mean, unless the Dems keep the House, I guess there can the Senate straight up impeach him. I know the Senate tries him. I think the Congress House has to indict him. It's bad. This is from Zerohedge. Blockbuster report reveals how Biden family was compromised by China. Um, Christopher Balding, associate professor at Peking University, HSBC School of Business, Shenzhen, China, and also Bloomberg contributor, exposing Biden activities in China, which, quote, the press simply refused to cover, reveals how Biden was compromised by the Communist Party of China. In a series of tweets around noon on Thursday, Balding said he had really not wanted to do this, but roughly 2 months ago, he was handed a report about Biden's activities in China the press had simply refused to cover. He wants to strongly emphasize he did not write the report, but he knows who did. Some background on the report on Balding's website. According to him, I've gone over the report with a fine-tooth comb and find nothing factually wrong with the report. Everything is cited and documented. And I'm just doing the highlights here. Go to Zerohedge for this entire article. It's called Blockbuster Report Reveals How Biden Family Was Compromised by China. They have very valid reasons to fear for both their personal safety and professional risk. They are not Republican. Third, it was my very real wish that the press would have reported on the documented evidence in this report and left me and the author entirely out of this situation. I did not vote for Trump in 2016 and will not vote for him in 2020. However, I cannot in good conscience allow documented evidence of the variety presented here to go unreported by partisans who are simply choosing to hide the information. Upon review, this is how Balding summarized the report's contents in a series of tweets. Hunter Biden is partnered with the Chinese state. Entire investment partnership in Chinese state money from Social Security Fund to China Development Bank. It is actually a subsidiary of the Bank of China. This is not remotely anything less than a Chinese state-funded play. Though the entire size of the fund cannot be reconstructed, the Taiwanese co-founder, who is now detained in China, reports it not 1.11 to 1.5 billion, but 6.5 billion. This would make Hunter's stake worth at a minimum at least 50 million if he were to sell it. The believed godfather in arranging everything is a gentleman named Yang Jiechi. He is currently the CCP Director of Foreign Affairs, leading strategist for America, Politburo member, one of the most powerful men in China, and Z confidant. He met regularly with Joe Biden during his stint as Chinese ambassador in the U.S. when Biden chaired the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Later, he was Minister of Foreign Affairs when the investment partnership was made official in 2013. Importantly, the Taiwanese national listed MOFA institutions as key clients in helping to arrange everything. Yang would clearly have known the importance of Hunter Biden and undoubtedly would have been informed of any dealings. These are documented facts from Chinese corporate records like IPO prospectuses and media. They raise very valid concerns about Biden's linkages to China. Turning to the report itself, here's the 10-point summary of its findings. Joe Biden's compromising partnership with the Communist Party of China runs via Yang Jiechi's CPC Central Foreign Affairs Commission. Yang met frequently with Biden during his tenure at the Chinese embassy in Washington. Hunter Biden's 2013 Bohai Harvest Rosemont Investment Partnership was set up by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs institutions who are tasked with garnering influence with foreign leaders during Yang's tenure as foreign minister. Hunter has a direct line to the Politburo, according to source a senior finance professional in China. Wow. Michael Lin, a Taiwanese national now detained in China, brokered the BHR partnership with partners in MOFA, Foreign Influence Organizations. Lin is a POI for his work on behalf of China, as confirmed by Source B and Source C at two separate national intelligence agencies. BHR is a state-managed operation. Leading shareholder in BHR is Bank of China, which lists BHR as a subsidiary, and BHR's partners are SOEs that funnel revenue assets to BHR. Hunter continues to hold 10% in BHR. He visited China in 2010 and met with major Chinese government financial companies that would later back BHR's. Hunter's BHR stake, purchased for $400,000, is now likely worth approximately $50 million. Fees and capital appreciation based on BHR's $6.5 billion AUM, as stated by Michael Lin. Hunter also did business with Chinese tycoons linked with Chinese military and against the interest of U.S. national security. Oh my God. Biden's foreign policy stance towards China, formerly hawkish, turned positive despite China's country's rising geopolitical assertiveness. Wow. And here's how Hunter received the money. Here's Hunter. Wow. This is complicated. Central Committee, State Council. I don't really understand it. It's complicated. Very complicated. Let's go back. Can I go back? There we go. Oh, here we go. Third and final chart. Let's see. That was the how Hunter received the money. How CPC's cultivations of the Bidens. Okay, Jim Biden's not on here, and I'm surprised. And then finally, the relationships connecting U.S. leaders with communist leaders in China and North Korea. You got Kerry. Yeah, this is one of Hunter Biden's business partners. He's the stepson of John Kerry. And Kerry, of course, Secretary of State under Obama for a time. Yeah, this all doesn't look good at all. Geez, how long does this go on? How Biden was compromised by the CPC. Biden family compromised. The report also quotes from a 2019 National Review article detailing Hunter Biden's financial links to China. That's not good. According to this, Biden first visited China at the age of 36 as part of his U.S. government delegation when he was the senator for Delaware. He spent several days with Xi Jinping, Chinese newly anointed paramount leader who set the country on a path to reforms opening up. Foreign relations were later to become an important facet of Biden's career when in 1997 became ranking member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Well, this is more complicated than I can really get into here, but man, there's so much here. Some of the high-profile deals struck by HNA the past year. HNA, which was originally an airline carrier, is of course best known for becoming one of the major Chinese conglomerate, which in 2015-2016 was the most acquisitive Chinese company involved in a flurry of multi-billion-dollar global M&A including U.S. Electronics Distribution, Ingram Micro, CIT Group's aircraft leasing business, and 25% stake in Hilton, a 5% stake in Deutsche Bank, and widely regarded as backed or ultimately owned by Wang Qishan, the former vice premier. Ultimately, though, all this goes back to the Chinese Communist Party. You don't really own anything in the Chinese government. Now, some of these guys have enough juice that they're not going to get their money or stuff taken away, but ultimately, very few people have that power. Have enough power that the party couldn't say, oh, you got to give it up, or we're going to buy you out, or whatever. And it looks as if there's a lot of Chinese intelligence tied into this, which means, everything was recorded and scrutinized. Here's the Thornton Group to bring Rosemont Seneca executives to meet Chinese finance fund industry executives. This is 2012. And you see you got Devin Archer and Hunter Biden here. Wow. I'm just going to have to skip around. There's just too much here. Hunter received Chinese state money. Whew. Wow, this is a massive thing. Our research show that for more than a decade, Hunter has been personally targeted by Chinese intelligence apparatus as its various foreign relations agencies. The U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs published on September 23, 2020, details on Hunter's recent payoffs by PLA link tycoon Yi Jiangming, chairman of Chinese Energy Company Limited. All right, bottom line is Hunter is in deep. So if you want to read the rest of this, it's at Zerohedge. There's also a link to the full report if you really want to drill down. And, this is all boring finance stuff, but this doesn't even count. If Chinese intelligence was working Hunter, look at how much baggage he has. He's addicted to drugs. He's smoking crack. He's got pictures of scantily clad or naked 14-year-old girls on his laptop. I mean, this guy's compromised beyond belief. They own him. They would own him with this information. And this has been going on for years. How long have they compromised him? I mean, Biden's been out of office for almost 4 years, but still, this goes back 10 years. Or more, really. When you factor in Joe's relationship with China, and now you have to question everything he's ever said about China. And you really have to question his general intelligence and decision making at all. I mean, Jesus, man. His son is a crack addict who is now, or who was with his brother's widow, cheated on her, got another girl pregnant, and may I say, possibly have molested his own niece. I mean, on top of the fact Biden's got some weird things going on with his sniffing that he had to be warned about. I mean, what is going on with this family? They're messed up. When you got a guy this compromised, I mean, he'll do anything. He'll do anything to get out from under this. What motivates him? I gotta think love for his dad. That's what I think. I think he's so willing to completely just prostrate himself in front of his father and do anything he says, while at the same time that has driven his. This is all my speculation. My sense would be that his self-worth has been driven to nothing because he keeps doing that, and Biden doesn't really acknowledge, much. In all his emails, he sounds Hunter sounds passive aggressive and like, oh, woe is me. Everybody hates me. I'm the FF of the family. So I mean, he should not be in charge of anything. And look at all the money that's just pouring into him, pouring money on this guy and the Biden family and Jim and his wife. It's like, do these people ever say, no, better not? I mean, no, it doesn't seem like it. Seems like they're willing to take every last dollar. For what? They're already rich, but I guess this is how they got rich. And Biden he really just can't be president. He's complete. I never thought I'd say this about a candidate, but he's really completely unqualified. He'd actually be more damaging, I should say, to the position than anyone else. He sounds completely compromised by China. But even if you acknowledge, well, it's all been exposed, so now he's not compromised by China, he'll go the other way then. He may overcompensate. He may start a war with China just to prove to everybody he's not compromised. And he's picked Kamala Harris, who has also been named in this mess. Not in this article, but in the other one. So, I mean, she's got to be at least vulnerable to that same sort of logic. So, and Trump, he started a trade war with China. He's not compromised. He has his own money. Biden's only worth, I mean, somebody said 90 million, but I think he's only worth a few dozen million, dozen and a half. I mean, that's chump change to a guy like Trump. You couldn't bribe Trump. You'd have to bribe him with where are you going to get $1 billion to bribe him? How are you going to even get it to him? I mean, some people are. You going to tell me you're going to bribe him? He's got stakes. He's got holdings all over the world. He's probably got holdings you don't even know about. His kids have it all too. How much longer do you think the guy's going to live? He's in his 70s. He eats hamburgers all day. So this is all just a mess, man. And thank God he just trashed him at the debate. Thank God. People are talking about the debate, and I got to get into that in another video, but and the media reaction and the reaction on Twitter, my God, that's all anybody's talking about today. And at the same time, Trump has come through with this another peace deal in the Sudan. It's just unbelievable. As good as Trump is at his job, Biden is that bad. He really is. He can't be president. He just can't. You can't vote for this guy. Even if you think Kamala Harris is just going to step into his shoes. He is tainted. Biden is tainted. This requires a major investigation. You're talking about the national security in the United States. It's saying right in this report, Hunter took money against the interest of the United States, against the national interest of the United States. China is not playing around. They will grind us under if we let them. So, I can't say it strongly enough. I don't care who you vote for, but don't vote for Joe Biden. And if you still consider voting for him, you got to read a lot. You got to read the New York Post. You got to read this. I mean, are they all lying? Look at the detail. You going to tell me this is a lie? That this is a setup? You going to tell me Donald Trump does this stuff? Donald Trump doesn't do this stuff. Donald Trump, for these kinds of numbers, it's chump change to him. It's chump change. They blasted him for his bank account in China. He didn't even have $200,000 in it. He probably pulled that much out of his wallet. So come on, man. Joe cannot be president. If he If he is president, I don't think he'll be president long. I think he'll be immediately impeached. Immediately. And probably Kamala with him. Because now that she's been named, she would only have to touch this. Only touch it a little bit. Done. I think the pressure would be enough to, even if the Dems control the House still, I think the pressure from the people would get them to agree to impeach her. Yeah, they wouldn't do any time, but they would be gone. Absolutely. Do the Democratic Party a favor. Do not, under any circumstances, vote for Joe Biden.